Good afternoon, evening, all of my spirited living companions, cohorts on this journey to play with, to engage with, to embrace, to re-energize our inner goddess team, that part of ourselves, the divinely feminine wisdom that all of us hold, regardless of gender, and doing that through these archetypes of goddesses, of divinely feminine representations from all over the world. So welcome, Deborah Roth here from Spirited Living, obviously, and I want to so today, and I was thinking about this. I'm bringing up there's this paradox that happens this time of year. Yes, we just had the full moon yesterday, and that's another paradox because the sun and the moon are always in opposite signs on the full moon. But the other paradox that happens this time of year is that it's this time of great celebration, which is wonderful in many traditions around the world. And of course, in the Earth Center tradition, and indigenous cultures, we are looking ahead to the winter solstice, which will arrive on December 21st, which is the return of the light. So that means, and this is where the paradox is, that we are also in the deepest, darkest time of the year. These days, these weeks, we're really in this deep place. And with the winter solstice, we get just a little glimmer, and we won't really feel much of that light returning until, another month or so. But because it's in this deep, dark place, this is also the time when we honor the goddesses of time and destiny, and the crone goddesses, the goddesses of death, of inner death, of literal death. And the one that I chose for today is one where I've highlighted her sisters, and she is Manat. She is the pre-Islamic goddess, crone goddess of time and fate. And so that word crone, we got to own that. It's actually one of those words that has been totally dehumanized, disenfranchised by the patriarchal religions, because crone comes from chronology and chronos. All it means is time. It means someone who's lived a long time. And I've written and talked about crone energy before, but it's the energy of wisdom and of going into the depths of ourselves to tap into the mystery, to tap into answers to things that we can't find out in the light. So it seems appropriate, as much as we're celebrating, as we enter into these light-filled, to coax back to light, before the winter solstice, we're also celebrating or honoring, maybe is the better word, this deep descent into the dark, which the crone goddesses represent. So the story with Manat, and as I said, I have highlighted her two sisters. She and her two sisters were created by Allah as kind of his emissaries to humanity in the pre-Islamic mythology. And I won't go into who, I will tell you their names, because I've done Inner Goddess Team videos for both of them. And if you go to my YouTube channel and put their names in, and I will actually, in the description for this one that I always post up on YouTube, I will give you the links for the other two sisters, who are Al-Lat and Al-Uzza. But this is Manat, and we're going to let her, I was going to say we'll let her shine. She's not really a big shiner. She's definitely a go deeper. And she was very revered. In fact, people named their children after her. Her name, let's see, what were some of the things they called her? She also she derives her name from the Arabic maniya, M-A-N-I-Y-A, which means fate, destruction, doom, and death, or menata, which is the part or portion that is allotted. And there's a lot of different descriptions of her. So it's both of those kind of represent how her role as a goddess that oversees fate, and that she is, and in fact, the Egyptians used the term maniya to denote the concept of the future. That's the destiny and fate piece. So Arabs apparently used to name their children either Abd Manat or Zaid, Manat, and they used to venerate her and sacrifice before her to go on pilgrimages and to shave their heads. So she was very revered in those ancient times. Let's see. She is, what else do I want to tell you about her? So obviously, because of her connection with death and the fact that she was felt like Hecate, like the Greek Hecate, like other crone goddesses, Santa Muerte, who I highlighted a month ago. These crone goddesses, these goddesses of death, were not ones to be feared. They were actually to bring comfort and guidance to those who were deceased. And Manat was one who was felt to protect the graves of those who had died, she held a vessel filled with death and vigilantly watched over people's graves. Her symbols, and you'll see that, where's my nifty little thing? These are the three sisters, Al-Uzza, Al-Lat, and Manat, right there. And she is shown with, you can't really tell, it looks like it's a full moon, but it really is a crescent moon. So her symbols are the crescent moon. She's also symbolized by a big block of black onyx. That was one of her idols that was, or tourmaline. And the idea is that you would hold the black onyx or the black tourmaline to invoke her and ask for her wisdom and her protection and her magic. It was felt that if you called on her and honored her correctly, you didn't want to cross her, that she would guide you to develop your inner wisdom and to fill your life with magic. But the idea with her, because she is, all crone goddesses, because they're not afraid of death, you need to treat very carefully. And so you want to be sure that you please her. Let me find that there was a wonderful, let's see. Manat was believed to change the fate of those who displeased her for the worst. And so if you swore on Manat's name and you didn't follow through, you would get the ramifications from her. So any oath that people would make would have to be very serious and sincere if they were going to do it in Manat's name. She was, where's the piece? You can tell she's one that I don't know so much about. She's seen, and this happens in cultures around the world and religions around the world, that she's sometimes seen as the mother or the consort, the partner of different gods. Hubal was a warrior god that she's often associated with, either as the mother or the consort. She's also linked with the god of storms and clouds and thunders, who is known as Kuza. I think that's how you pronounce it. As always, I do not speak Arabic. And I always appreciate hearing from people, whatever new information, not new information, it's ancient information, whatever ancient information you have that I'm missing about these various goddesses that I love to highlight. Let's see. I think that's all. I've had a little bit of a crazy day, but got enough to was home in time to bring this to you. So what I would love to share with you, and this is kind of my go-to chant when we're talking about crone goddesses. Well, first of all, before I share the chant, I just invite you to take a moment and allow yourself, especially those of you who might have a hard time with this time of year as we're descending into the darkness, to take some time just to breathe into your own inner wisdom and call on Manat there. Call on her to guide you to your inner wisdom. And if you've ever had an experience with her, probably few of us in the Western world have, but she is one to invoke with great respect and sincerity. And especially, there were, I won't go into it, but we've had some deaths in our community recently. And so she would be one to call on for comfort and for guidance to, they don't talk about the afterlife, but they do talk about guidance to the grave in the pre-Islamic mythology. So if you have had people who've died recently or really any time during the year, Manat is someone that you can call on to help guide them to their, to their next passage, through that passage. please, I would love to, as I said, I'd love to hear from people. Any more information that you have about her. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just take some time to think about what questions you have. I would love to hear more questions. I would love to hear whatever goddesses that I haven't covered yet in the last 3 years since I've been doing this. So now I'll do a little with just that little commercial in there to get you to think about how you, and never wanting to co-opt any of these religions that we bring in their ancient gods and goddesses. But how can you, as a modern day woman or man or any gender, how can you embody this spirit of honoring the wisdom of the elders, honoring death as a passage, as a long passage, and calling on whoever you need to call on for that kind of guidance. So the chant that I will leave you with is actually one I just did a month ago when I introduced you to Santa Muerte, and it really captures, I think, this feeling of honoring the ancients and the fact that through these ancient beliefs and through these archetypes we continue on in the time of the living. And it goes, it's the blood of the ancients that flows through our veins, and the forms pass, but the circle of life remains. It's the blood of the ancients that flows through our veins, and the forms pass, but the circle of life remains. I leave you with that, to have a beautiful rest of your day, and remember to call on Manat or any of the Crone goddesses when you need extra comfort at the time of a loss of a loved one, or just for your own guidance to the place deep within you where your own ancient inner wisdom resides. Namaste. Thanks for being with me.